and I removed my shoes and whoa. And then since that day,
Essentially, like, what makes you good at it?
you need to have a very, very good awareness of the surrounding, the moving surrounding. Because when we fly super low and there's power lines, there is wall, there is explosion, there's cars, you need to have, in a fraction of a second, you need to photograph everything moving, and you know if you can go between them, you can go next to them. So you need to have a very comfortable sense of space, and that's something you have or you don't. Now, of course, you can get better and better, but you need to have a base. You know, some people have no sense of that. So you need that. And then the second is you need to connect with your machine. So you need to be one with the helicopter. There is not, like, it's not you operating the machine. You are the machine, which means, you know, I don't know if you know if you ski, but snow ski. Okay, so if you ski and you go downhill, and sometimes you lose control a little bit because the snow is not good or whatever it is, but you're losing control. The ski are taking you down, not you, and you can very easily identify that when shoot, like you're losing control and you're going down. The ski is taking you. So in a helicopter is the same. You have to be in control. The machine cannot take you somewhere. You cannot allow this to happen. So you need to be one. And for me, the only way to be one with the machine is to be an expert in one type, which is what I'm doing. I'm expert in the one you can see on Instagram 99% of the time. It's an Airbus H125. It's a machine that is plenty technical reason why. And to me, to connect with them, I often fly barefoot. I remove my shoes and my socks because I feel the machine with my hands and my feet. And I really feel the helicopter way more when I'm barefoot. If you drive your car without shoes, you're going to see what I'm talking about. You're going to
I can see that, right?
So sensitive. And you basically, you control the machine by pressure point, not movements. So if you have a big pair of shoes, you don't feel anything as a pressure point. You have to move physically something to react. But if you want to fly, like a feather, you need pressure point. So that's basically, I think, what you have to be good at.
They're that sensitive.
They're very sensitive. Yeah. In fact, if you think you turn, it's turning without any moving. If you fly with me and I'm going to show you the control, you're not going to see it moving. We're going to go 90 degrees to the left.
I guess the only thing I could possibly in my life compare it to is like skiing and mountain biking, in which mountain biking, like, no, you control it.
Yeah.
And if you want to go left, well, you think about going left.
It's the same. It's the same principle for any machine. For me, it's exactly the same for mountain biking. Because the guy doing jerky move is going to fall. You really have to. It's pressure point. To me, it applies to any kind of machine going fast somewhere, or, you have to control your bike. You have to be one with your bike. You have to be one with a motorcycle. You have to be one with anything you do. It's the same for the helicopter.
And I think that anybody can kind of relate to that in the sense that, like, if you're walking or something like that, you take your shoes off. You do know where you are a lot more. Right.
Yeah, if you do yoga or something, you take your shoes off, you connect more. I mean, it's basic. So because of 99.9% of the pilots learn with their shoes, it's not always easy for them to switch. For me, it was just because one day it was so hot, it was warm as hell, and I removed my shoes because I was in the Sahara Desert, and I removed my shoes and whoa. And then since that day, I don't always take it off, but if it's a complicated sequence and I'm not in Alaska or somewhere, then my shoes is gone.
So if you're looking at like the precision aspect of it, okay, you've got to be within 6 inches of this spot, a foot, like 10 feet. Like how close are you going to, like, okay, you got an A if you're within X amount of space of where you're supposed to be?
Most of the time, it's going to be to the foot. Because if you look at my frame right now, okay, if I'm a foot off, okay, so it's the same for me in the helicopter. Most of the time they have the camera, and that's what they want to see, what's behind me. So if I'm going this way, then the camera is to follow, and then my background change. So it's usually to the foot. I have to be very precise. And I'm always telling everybody who's working with us in our team, I said, you have to be consistent when you duplicate again and again and again a flight movement. He has to be to the foot or half a foot. Basically, you have to be perfectly, aligned with whatever they want. And most of the time what we do, I'm going behind the camera on the ground and I look what they're going to see. And I'm trying to see, what will be the limits, like a visual cues, like a building, like a rooftop or something. And then when I'm coming in with a helicopter, I'm trying to stay within those reference cues that I don't see anymore because I'm sitting on the filmed helicopter. But then we have a ground pilot, what we call ground pilot coordinator. They're very experienced pilot. They're on the ground with radios. They're next to the director and he's listening to what he says, and then he can see the frame because he can see the video. And then he can see if I'm like 10 feet off, he say, Fred, move one click. So we have a little code. It's 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks. It just means it's a little bit, You can say 2 feet to the right, but it doesn't mean 2 feet. It means a little bit, So that's how we do it.